Yeah, because my dad, as I said earlier, my dad had like big family. We have my dad 7 brothers and 2 sisters. So all my cousins and everyone, like 121 family members, and living all over the world, Canada, America, Denmark, and then they're all in there. Even my first cousin, like 57, 58, and they all contact, like we in touch and talk to each other, how they're going and everything.
They all talk regularly, all of them.
Yeah.
And that'll be a good platform to create like every, let's say, annual holiday plan.
Yeah. It's like my cousin, his son's getting married in 16th of July in Leicester, in England. And he sent me a card and everything, invited me. And he said, you have to come.
Wow.
So all my family, his brothers, the older brother, he's in from Denmark, he's coming. His sisters in Italy, they're coming, they're going there. My auntie from Canada, they're going. From New Zealand, my family going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one, my cousin lives in Spain, he's going there too. Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, did you guys experienced any language barriers like when you met for the first time?
Very, very much
at the moment,
so.
like I know, like you guys have that level of understanding and the communication like you guys do with each other here, right? But what about like when you guys started at, let's say you guys met at first? Were there any language barriers?
Absolutely.
There is still. I think still, Carly. Sometimes I can't. Even I'm living that long here. There's a words. It's a struggle to pronounce. You know, and because English is second language for us. But for a person who's only learn and listen and everything in English, it's hard for them to understand. But because Carly, we living together nearly 7 years now. So she knows what you mean. She said, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Like, what is the factor right there where Carly can understand like whatever Jag is saying at the moment? What do you think? Like, what is the key factor in there?
So,
like, let's say when you guys met for the first time, as you guys have already mentioned, like there was a bit of language barrier, or like you guys would be thinking like, wow, what this guy is saying, isn't it? But now, even like I'm the witness, like Carly can understand whatever Jag is saying to Carly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think, like what is the biggest factor over there?
That developed over time. When we first met, he had very different body language to what I was used to. His words that he spoke sometimes didn't make sense to me. But that was just something over time and understanding of his background as well with the body language factor. Is the way that he does things is because of the way that he was raised. So it just took time, I think, and listening to him, definitely. And yeah, I don't have a problem with it now. It probably only took a couple of weeks or so into the relationship, and then it was just second nature.
So I'm all about raising this question to you guys at the moment because I want to give that powerful message to the listeners. Do you think like this also works in like every workplace or like every community?
Like
all about like understanding each other languages.
Yeah,
what do you think? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Well, I'm a registered nurse and we work in a hugely multicultural environment. Like I have a lot of people from different parts of the world working together with me. It's just a matter of taking that extra second or moment and focusing on that person to understand what they're actually saying. I have as well a lot of patients from different parts of the world who have dementia and they revert back to their original language that they used to speak. And, you know, if you take that little bit of time to understand, you can usually get the gist of what they're saying.
Yeah. Jag, would you like to add anything here?
No, I think I fully agree with Carly. It's if you make effort to listen to the person, you know. So someone talking to, for example, you know, she's Aussie, she's born here, she's white, and if person like me whose English is second language, try to tell something to Carley, and Carley would, just palm him off or palm her off, say, oh yeah, whatever, I don't understand. But if she, because she make effort, she actually listen.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's only take few seconds, and she, if you
Yeah.
listen to someone, you understand like what he or she trying to say.
Yeah. So I always remember something like funny here, like when I came to Australia, right?
Yeah.
So for a few days, like I was just wondering like why everyone is saying me Mike.
Oh,
I was thinking like, wow, like well, my name is Bipin, like why these guys are calling me Mike,
Mike, yeah.
Mike. Ever. I think that was all about the 5th or the 6th day. I realized like they're telling me mate.
Yeah.
Mate.
And that was like friend, okay,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar incident happened to, I remember back in 2007 when we came this guy, Jamkor, he's a spouse visa was a very big thing back in the days, and he was illiterate person, like he'd never been to school or anything, and it was only a week, and we was in Melbourne. We was walking from Swanston Street, and this tradie guy is like to Jamkor, hey, going, mate? And then Jamkor, he said, oh no, just Flinders Station. So he assumed he's saying, where are you going?
Yeah.
But it's a Aussie slang, like, hey,
Yeah.
going?
Yeah. And even I just used to understand like all about the meaning of electrician, right? And then someone someone mentioned that to me, like all about
Leco.
Leco was the third one I learned about.
Sparky?
Like, wow, Sparky, there you go, right?
Yeah, Sparky.
So it took me like few years to understand like what is all about Sparky.
Sparky
right?
is electrician. Chippy is the carpenter.
Yeah. All about the slangs, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's so interesting to learn.
Yeah.
And I had that mindset like, all right, electrician means like Sparky, right? And right on my workplace, like one of my colleague who works in the admin started mentioning all about like, wow, do you know like what is all about Lego? Or Leco, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never knew that, right? So now that's this third version. Like I've learned about
Leco.
what we can say to an electrician.
So carpenter is Chippy, Carley. So what's the plumber?
I think it's just plumber.
Plumber, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just plumber. I don't think there is a short for that.
Yeah.
I think Aussies are very lazy in the way that they talk.
Yeah. Leco.
So what do you think all about this, Carley? Like everything has a short form, isn't it? What do you think all about this? Like what is the reason behind this?
I don't
It's
have
so
an
like
answer for
interesting to learn.
Yeah.
It's so like
Afternoon called hour.
Avo, isn't it? Yeah.
Night shift, graveyard shift.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, graveyard shift. Then you got what else you got?
that. Jag is definitely the pro
Yeah.
at all the Aussie slang.
So cigarette, you call Dari. Yeah.
Or a ciggy.
So that means like Jug has learned a lot of things from Carley, is it? Yeah.
Most of that is not from me.
Oh, okay. So Carley, like, how did you feel about going to India this time? Especially you went there to get married, isn't it? With Jag.
Yes. Very, very exciting to go there and get married in Jag's culture with his family. Was definitely very special with both of our kids as well. Very nerve-wracking because it's whole nother country and I've never been overseas before, so that was my very first time. Yeah. Didn't know how the kids would go, but it was really cool.
But anyways, like you were heading off to India with your man, so
Yeah.
there was nothing like you should be anxious of.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there. I was there, and I was telling her, I say, I'm gonna be there, so you don't need to be, But still, there's anxiety and there's stress hits. Like I knew it because I born there. I know what sort of environment she's going in, but someone never been overseas, never been to the country, and have always that anxiety back in the mind. What could happen, what could go wrong, and this sort of things.
So, did you get any cultural shock, Carley?
Very, very much so. Over there, probably my biggest thing was that there are no rules. Over here, there's rules for everything.
Oh, yeah.
There's no littering, there's traffic rules, there's indecent exposure rules.
Oh my God.
Over there, you've got you know, nobody follows any traffic rules at all. Everybody's in each other's space. It's just, very different environment. And I think that I was brought up with structure and rules, and over there it just did not exist.
Yeah.
Did you see any changes like when you went to India this time, Jag?
Yeah, I did. So last time I went there was 2015. So it was 8 years ago. So since 8 years now, I've seen the huge changes. You know, not only just economy wise or in infrastructure wise. There's lots of technology is changing. Yeah. So where I seen even someone like a tea stall guy, you know, who have no shop, just a little stall. He, you know, if you offer him like cash, he said, "Oh, I don't mind. You can either pay by cash or either do a Google Pay or Phone Pay." And I was shocked. That's it, you know.
Alrighty.
So that sort of changes,
Wow.
I've seen, and you know, more like a less dependent on other like made in China stuff, more make in India stuff.
They had a lot of food restaurants as well, like the Starbucks and
Oh,
Burger
yes.
King, McDonald's, KFC.
Subway, Nando's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All about this
They had all
franchise.
that.
Franchise coming.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for today. So, anyways, I've already mentioned that to you, right? Like, we will be talking about international marriage,
Yep.
isn't
Yep.
it? Yeah. And you guys are the perfect example for me at the moment.
Thank you.
So, I would be saying the perfect example in the sense you guys are newly married,
Yep.
We are,
isn't
yes.
it?
Newly married.
Yes,
Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what about if you mention this to my listeners? Where did you get married? Definitely at India, but
Yep.
particularly like which place?
Oh, so I'm originally from north part of India,
Okay.
the place called Punjab, and it's a big state, and then there's a city called Jalandhar, and then I have a little town called Noor Mahal, and that's where my village is, Kandola Kala, and we got married in Sikh Gurdwara, Sikh
Okay.
temple,
All about a typical traditional
wedding,
Very traditional.
marriage, right?
marriage, yeah.
So is that I can call you Punjabi Kudi, Kali? Do you know
Yeah.
the meaning of Punjabi Kudi?
Is it wife?
Kudi girl,
Girl.
yeah.
Punjabi
Kudi.
girl, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Punjabi.
Punjabi girl.
Yeah. I was really
But it was just lovely. It was really, really nice. Good experience.
Alrighty. Anyways, like the title of my video for today would be The Guys Who Fell in Love with a Foreigner.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
That's a topic,
like
yeah?
it.
And
I like
they got married,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like really curious, you know? Like, yeah. Because I knew you guys like, been like 2 years now.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Close
yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah. So when Jag like booked me as a photographer for Carley's graduation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the first day like we
That
met.
was the first time. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Like, do you find any cultural differences in this intercultural marriage?
First, Carley.
Many. Yeah. It's a lot of accepting from both sides. I was pretty much brought up with zero culture, and Jag has so much, and you can see it around our house as well. It's just a lot of his culture, and then, there's a lot. There's a lot that you have to accept.
Yeah, I would say similar to Carley, what she said. It's a different culture, like different mentality, different things. So it's kind of exciting every day and challenging in the same. Yeah,
Challenging at times.
Yeah.
Jag's very superstitious about a lot of things, and he gets that from his mum, which I found. Actually, the whole family over
you're
in
saying
India,
like you
they're all
witnessed
very
that this time.
they're all very superstitious about a lot of things.
This is how, like, when we was a kid, we grew up. You know, we're seeing, for example, my mom said on the Tuesday, you know, you don't wash clothes.
Oh yeah.
You know, on Tuesday you don't cut your hair.
Yeah,
on Tuesday you don't, cut your nails.
Yeah.
So when the Carley used to, like when we met, as usual, she said there was no this sort of thing superstitious when she was, brought up. But then I start telling Carley, I say, oh, you should not wash the clothes. It's Tuesday. And then she's like, oh, whatever. But then I told her, I said, this is the thing, you should know. And then, but she's good. She's start following. And I think she don't, like, till today, I don't wash clothes and all this. Well, follow superstitious.
He doesn't cut his hair on Tuesday. He doesn't wash his clothes on Tuesday.
If I tell about myself, like, I don't buy any metal items on Saturday.
Yeah. Same, shani,
There you go.
Yeah.
So, that's my mom told me not to, because I'm Capricorn, Makar Rashi, and Shani is my guru. And my mom made our Janam Patri, like a birth book, and she followed this Janam. Even when we got married, she went to the Panditji and we did the stars matching, all the gun. So 36 gun is the top match. So Carley and mine was 33.
So you guys went through that astrology aspect as well. Wow.
That's what my mom, she's big on astrology, Panditji, and even like we, in my family, so my dad, 7 brothers and 2 sisters, whole my family, 121 members, we are sick. We don't believe. But my mom made mine and my sister. So we believe in all this superstitious, whatever we call superstitious, or
For Carley.
We couldn't get married in India until his mum had completed that.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we had our results.
So she matched my Janam Patri, and she made her Janam Patri, because that's why she was asking your place of birth, your date of birth, your time of birth.
Exactly.
So the Panditji made all the boxes and everything, and Panditji say 33 gun, very good.
It took a little while to get all that information because I didn't have access to it.
Yeah.
So it took a few months. Yeah.
So, as what I know, out of 36, 33 would be like so high.
So high. 36. So that's what Panditji said. Shri Ram, Bhagwan Ram and Sita, they had 36.
Exactly.
So
36 out of 36.
36
they had. That's rare as well.
That's rare, yeah.
Yeah.
So 33, yeah.
I never knew that. It's actually a typical
the Indian customs.
Cultural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indian wedding, isn't
Wedding,
it?
yeah.
There was some truth behind it, because remember your mum said that my lazy day was a Thursday.
Brahaspativar was,
Yeah.
because Panditji said she got a gun, like some people have Kal Sarpyog. I have Kal Sarpyog in my Rashi, like my horoscope. So that's for whole my life. So every year when my birthday, we do this puja, Kal Sarpyog puja. So when Panditji seen her, and they said she's her Brahaspati, which is Thursday, is bit, she become lazy, according to Panditji, and she don't feel like doing anything. So that's why the Panditji said have to do like puja. We did the video I showed you. That was a puja for her. So, and also for 1 year, every Thursday, my mom now from her photo, touching her photo like a apple or any fruit, and donating at the mandir.
But it's actually very true, because Thursday is my laziest day, and we do take out Thursdays.
Yeah.
So we don't cook or anything on Thursday, and I usually have Thursdays off work.
Yes, true.
Alrighty. Let's talk something about food. Okay? Let's talk something about food. All about Indian food. Shall I say Australian food, Carley? Isn't it?
Australian
Now,
food, yeah.
just tell me honestly, alrighty, who wins at home?
Carley. Same again. I will pass on to Carley. She will tell.
Who is the winner? All about cooking.
I got very lucky in this marriage, because Jag does the majority of the cooking. I hardly do very much cooking. So he will cook a mixture of Australian and Indian foods. We eat a lot of like sabji, roti, and then we'll have days where we have sausages and mashed potato, or pizza, or carbonara pasta.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a mixture of everything.
Okay. So Jug is cooking like most of the time, alrighty. Now Jug, like, would you be able to say to my listeners,
Yep.
how did you start learning all about cooking Australian food?
So
Is it simple?
it's not hard if you like have interest. Its main thing is interest. So I was probably 5 or 6 year old when start cooking, like not fully, but start watching kitchen. So when I came here at 18, 19 years old, live singly, so start cooking yourself and everything. Then it's just experiment, like you. So it's sausages, for example. What we call here sanga. So
Okay.
yeah. So mashed potato. So it's like in Punjab, or we call chokha. So it's aloo, which is mash, which is potato, and then you boil them and then you mash. So that's mashed potato. We call chokha. It's the same thing. Well, the only difference is we put a little bit salt in there, onion, and some spice. It's the same. So that's how it's similarity. Like not a lot, but you can. It's easy. It's not hard. Yeah, if you show interest.
Okay. Carley, have you tried like cooking any Indian food?
Yeah, I've tried. I cooked quite a lot in the beginning of the relationship, but then I usually work a lot of afternoon shifts, so usually Jag's at home most
So what's
of
your
the time.
favorite, Carley? The one.
My one and only.
Yep.
Paneer.
Okay.
Paneer is my one and only favorite, all-time favorite. Shaya paneer. Definitely.
Not palak? No palak paneer.
No, definitely not.
So let's talk about a couple of traditions, because you guys are keeping alive like 2 different traditions inside your home, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are the traditions that you are practicing currently at the moment?
So we celebrate the majority of Jag's traditional festivals. That's what I'm thinking. But we also do, say, Christmas, Easter. We do all that as well. New Year's Eve.
Diwali.
Diwali we celebrate. There's a number of
Big one is
days it was-
Diwali, I would say.
Yeah.
All about the festival of
Festival,
lights,
festival lights,
isn't
yeah.
it?
We did Holi just recently.
Oh, Rakhi, we do
Yeah.
Rakhi.
Rakhi.
Rakhi,
okay,
yeah. Rakhi, Raksha Bandhan.
Mhm.
The one coming now, I think in July or August.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Like, what is the biggest secret over here where we can actually tie up like traditions from two different cultures and just keep up and running? What is the secret here?
Secret,
Yeah.
I would say understanding.
Yeah.
If we understand, mutual understanding, respect each other, you know.
Respecting each other's backgrounds and
It's
how they were brought up.
Brought up, yeah. For like, you know, for example, if I said, oh, I want to celebrate Diwali, but then Carly said, I want to also celebrate Christmas, and I said, no, not all. So that's, I won't say this is like going, you know, it's anyway. So it's have to be a mutual understanding, you know. I said, oh yeah, we do both. How about we do both, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We are
So-
very open to each other's backgrounds, and we do make an effort with each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
All about the cross culture, isn't it?
Cross culture, yeah. So
Yeah.
I remember when we was a kid, there's an old saying in India, if in Hindi they said, "Jaisa desh waisa bhes." So wherever you go, you know, try to, you know, become one. Yeah. Don't forget your roots, but also become them. Start following them too.
Yeah. So let's talk about the benefits. Alrighty. Benefits of cross culture or benefits of international marriage.
Jag knows my biggest benefit is every single morning I get cha and ladoo delivered to
Ooh.
my bedside every single morning
Okay.
without fail. And if I work in the mornings, he gets up early and he makes it for me and puts it in a takeaway so I can take it to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I drink cha. I hardly drink coffee. You know, even if I have a coffee, I won't feel the same. So have to have like ginger masala chai every morning, 7 days. And even wherever we go, we went to holidays in Tasmania, and the hotel we stay, we couldn't find the cooking gas or stove. So in the hot pot, the kettle, I grated ginger in there, and then tea bags, and then we drink the chai. You know, so chai
He
have
makes
to
it
have.
work. Wherever we are, he makes it work.
Yeah.
But
So
I don't think I would get that if I married an Australian man. I don't think I would have that benefit every morning.
thanks.
So shall we consider that as a breakfast for you, Carly?
Yes, that's
Break.
breakfast.
Chai and laddu?
Yeah.
Cha laddu, desi ghee toast.
Yes, that's
Okay.
another
That's another one?
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, Carly celiac. So celiac is it's a allergy, I would say, not a
It's an autoimmune disease.
autoimmune disease, which is people with the celiac disease can't have anything made with the wheat, so have to have gluten free. So
Okay.
yeah, so make sure everything she have is gluten free.
Mm-hmm. I
That's-
remember this like when you
Yeah.
guys mentioned this to me on last time.
That's
isn't it?
that's
Yeah.
been a very huge barrier to overcome with Jag, because he comes from India and flour is a huge
Oh,
part
definitely, yeah.
of his culture, and there was handling of flour during our ceremony as well, so I had to be extra careful because it can actually be absorbed into my pores as well and can make me quite sick. There's wheat farms everywhere, so it was definitely challenging.
Challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
But Jag often will eat gluten-free roti now. Yeah, he
Yeah.
eats a lot of gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he'll splurge and he'll have his own flour. And when his family's here to visit, we often have flour in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
atta roti. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But also I found with bloating, because I was suffering from a bloating issue
Okay.
2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
and when I cut down the gluten and started eating gluten-free bread, gluten-free thing, so I started seeing relief from my bloated belly, and you know, so I thought, yeah,
It's been beneficial.
beneficial.
Yeah.
And even like it's letting you guys to stay on the same page.
Stay in the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Cooking the same meal, isn't it?
We're not cooking different meals.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been
Alrighty.
good. Most of the subgies are gluten free anyway. It's just the roti that's on the
Roti.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And samosa, like I've never been able to try a samosa, unfortunately.
Oh,
I did made you chole puri, gluten-free puri once.
That's true.
With the gluten-free atta.
Alrighty, that's interesting, isn't it? Do you think like they'll pop out?
They didn't, to be honest.
Okay.
They didn't.
didn't.
That's what I was thinking about.
No.
It was
they didn't.
delicious.
But it was delicious, yeah.
But I think like the main thing is like all about taste.
Taste,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but also another secret for that, you have to eat straight away. So if you left it for like, suppose 10 to 15 minutes,
it'll be a papadum.
they become really, really hard. Harder than papadum, yeah.
Alrighty. A lot of experience, guys, yeah. Alrighty. Now, let's talk about if there was any challenges. Alrighty. Have you guys experienced any challenges in terms of international marriage?
Probably our biggest challenge would be if we're out in public, a lot of people assume that we're not together. We say if we're waiting in line to buy a movie ticket, we'll say 2, and then they'll give me the 2 tickets, but then he'll ask Jag, like,
You all right?
are you right there?
Okay.
So people just assume that we're not together. Yeah, it's very big. It was very big in the airport as well when we were heading out. And then when we came back, it was quite a big issue actually, because Jag would be pulled up and he would be searched and they would be scanning him, and I would be waiting there and they would be asking me why I'm standing around, and I would say I'm waiting for my husband, and they would look around and say, well, where's your husband?
Okay.
So it was, that's probably our biggest challenge, is the way a lot of society still isn't accepting of an interracial relationship. Yeah.
It's new.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a bit new topic, yeah. What do you guys think, like how it can be overcome?
I think I would say, because it is like, if we're talking about the history, 40, 50 years ago, like, isn't it, Carley? Like, it was nothing. Like, not...
It didn't exist.
No, but now, from that far, people came. Interracial marriages, is happening. Like, you can see every... Social media is full of, and I think time will,
I think time.
Time, knowledge. And Newcastle still, it's growing. Yeah, you see in Melbourne, there's plenty. You see, multicultural in Melbourne. There's interracial Melbourne.
Yeah.
Sydney, Queensland, big city, So Newcastle's still like a country and city touch. So they're still growing, people seeing,
Yeah. Or like even if we take the example of Dubai, isn't it?
Dubai, yeah.
Or UK, like, So it's all about like exchanging of heart. What do you think?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's talk about immigration rules and all about this legislation, right? So to go through an international marriage, do you guys have to go through like any of the laws or any of the immigration rules and regulation, let's say?
No, I was a bit lucky. We didn't have to go through because I was already permanent resident when I met Carley. So only Carley seen when I applied my citizenship. Yeah. So she only seen, but we did not have to go through all the the immigration process, and then you have to waiting time and file. I think it's a 820-801 subclass partner visa. Yeah.
Okay.
It can be a big misconception of our relationship as well, because people look at us and think, well, he might have just been after a green card, but in actual fact, he was a permanent resident before.
I got my permanent residency was 2016.
Yeah, so he was actually a permanent resident before we even met, and he'd done that himself.
Yeah.
So I had nothing to do with that.
And even this guy is actually working as a government officer somewhere at Walden, isn't it?
Yeah.
Was that like you were already into that job before you met Carley, Jag?
No. I was...
Or you were in Melbourne?
I convinced him to leave his job because he was night shift.
Night shift. Yeah, I was working at 7-Eleven.
Oh, you're saying like you used to do the graveyard stuff.
Graveyard. I was working 5 nights.
Yeah, 5 nights. It was awful. I don't know how he did it.
Because even before going in there, I was working for night patrol, hunter border.
Okay.
Like hunter border, all the checking. That was 12-hour shift,
Mm-hmm.
and that was same for 9-10 years. I worked that night shift, and then after I tried to find a day job. Then I went again this night shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Carly convinced me because also I was having sleep apnea. Like I was on the urge of because when we went to Charlestown, I had a sleep study and that machine was fit up and because sleep apnea. If you lots of people don't know what sleep apnea is. Sleep apnea it can kills you. So people who do night shift probably or have less sleep. Like could be any reason,
Also, diet was a factor because he was eating at different times to when the body is supposed to be eating.
Yes, that's what GP Dr. Bhaskar said.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said it's the day is for working, night is for sleep, but you doing opposite,
Yeah.
So that's also another factor. Where sleep apnea is where you during the sleep you stop breathing.
Yeah.
So
And is that like they use a CPAP machine for them?
yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes like that could be a loss of license too. Like the doctor would recommend them not to drive, isn't it? Yeah.
It can if it's severe.
Severe, yeah.
You're not supposed to operate heavy machinery like the big trucks and that. Yeah.
So with the sleep apnea, so they take you for the sleep study where they put the machine, or you go to the clinic and you can sleep there. So they can track your sleeping pattern, like how many hours you get a deep sleep. So because Carly was I reached a nurse and she said, I'll do it at home. Mm-hmm. So we did it, and I think 8-hour sleep. I only slept was hour and a half deep sleep. That rest I was not even sleeping properly.
Alrighty. I just want to roll back to like when you guys first met with each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think, like what is the biggest secret on building a trust in terms of like international marriage? Like Jag, definitely from a different country, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So vice versa, if I talk about Carley, right?
Yeah.
So what is all about, like how did you build a trust between yourselves?
I think that took time as well. That was something that was built over time, and just the getting to know each other and each other's backgrounds.
Understanding, I would say, communication, understanding, Yeah. Time, yes, that's also a big thing.
Time. I think it did take a little bit longer for us in a way because we've both been hurt in the past, so it did take that little bit longer to build that trust, and we did have walls up with each other, but they were eventually broken through, and it just time was the factor.
Yeah, even in general, I would say, like, if any relationship if you build a trust, the main, I would say, the key factor is like understanding. If you have mutual understanding between both couple, then you can build a trust.
Yeah. Because it's all about, I'm raising this query because it's all about like it's a term of like international marriage, isn't it? And let's say where Carley doesn't know like any of the friends and families of Jag. She only knows like Jag, and Jag only knows Carley, isn't it? At first.
Yeah.
It had to be a very big trust thing in India, because if I was to say, let my kids stay with one of his cousins, I had to trust that Jag trusted them to look after our children. So it was sort of very, very big thing over there in particular as well. And because I trust anything that he says, I knew that they were safe. Yeah.
True.
So back home, like husband would be putting on like every property into wife name, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about here, Carley?
Yeah.
50-50.
Let's talk about that. It is very 50-50 with us. Yeah. We, there is no one who is in this relationship that is superior to the other. We are both equal.
Yeah. That's actually well said. Yeah.
And I think if if you want to go longer run, that's how things
Yeah.
work with the equality, you know.
Yeah.
Not just equality with everything, you know, financially and, you know, housework and decisions. Yeah, you know, you're making decision, you need to be, you know, ask your partner. Yeah.
It's all about the expectations too, isn't it? Yeah, and also the acceptance level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you mentioned, like all about 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, something interesting, all right? Now, did you witness any... I'm not being genderist anyway, okay? Back home, like, all right, like, you went to Jugs back home, like, and you'll be seeing, like, like, most of the women would be just, like, serving the cup of tea, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
As a part of tradition and as a part of culture, okay? What do you think about this, Carley?
There will be times where we'll be at home and Jag will say, like, oh, if I had an Indian wife, she would make me cha and I would have to make you cha. It's just the way that we've formed this relationship. He started making the cha first, so that continues forever now. He's stuck in that routine.
Is that a rule or is that a routine?
It's a routine.
I think it's a routine.
It's a routine.
Yeah, definitely. And it's on my part, it's become a what I wake up to. So it's become my routine to wake up and have that sitting there for me, and that's how I start my day.
Yeah.
But it is definitely eye-opening for me over there as to how much time the women spend in the kitchen, how they don't actually sit down and have a conversation. They'll be constantly serving people and making sure the children are okay, and that is the complete opposite of me. Complete opposite.
Yeah. I was just trying to relate all about... Anyways, like, that's a part of, like, Jugs or even, like, my tradition and culture, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's up and keeping, like, it's up and running very well, right? But I was thinking, like, what is all about your experience, like, after you witness all about this, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we still talk about it now, don't we? How eye-opening it was for me. But, yeah, that's not how we run our household at home.
Yeah. So that is also all about, like, 50-50, isn't it?
50-50.
Yeah.
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, if I should be saying this or not at the moment, Jog, but anyways, like, serving a cup of tea and serving laddu to a wife in Indian and all, let's say Nepalese culture is quite rare, isn't it? In the morning. So I'll be saying you, Carley, like, you're so lucky.
Very lucky. I know how lucky I am. I know.
Right? It's like rare of the rare people, or the husband will do this, okay? So
and he cooks as well. So very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Okay. So have you guys, like, witnessed any sort of, like, stereotyping in terms of international marriage?
Like in Australia here or
Anywhere
in the
Carley
part.
went back home and you're right now with Carley at Australia, you know?
Anything, Carley?
I think before we went to India, it was a thing that Jag was very nervous about, what people would say, how people in his village would react. But it just came down to remembering that his family are accepting of us, and that's all that matters.
That's the main thing, you know? Yeah.
We don't really care too much about what other people have to say if they're not important in our life, and we're never going to see them again. But that was definitely a big, big worry before we went over there.
Yeah. And anyways, like, at the end, like, Jog would be the one spending the rest of the life with you, isn't it? Yeah.
I often, I'll have, because I look after the older generation in the hospital, and I'll have a lot of little old ladies or little old men say, "Are you married?" I say, "Yes." "Do you have a picture?" I'll show them a picture. "Oh, he's Indian." So that's like a shock for them. Yes, he is. And, you know, I'll often show a picture of our wedding. They don't really say much after that. They'll say, "That's really beautiful," or but I don't think it's what they expected to see when they asked to see a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
true.
what was the expression of Jag's mum when she saw you for the first time?
I don't really remember.
She seen because my mom, before we got married this year, my mom seen how many times she met you, Carly? She went you
3.
twice.
Like, as you guys mentioned, like,
3.
she was already prepared, right? She was expecting, like,
Yes.
yes, Carly would be coming to this house.
Yes,
isn't it?
yes.
And now, like, you're standing right in front of, like, Jag's mum.
She went all out. She filled everything with gluten-free stuff. She went and bought cooking stuff that was brand new that hadn't actually been touched by flour. She went all out, didn't she?
She did, yeah. She made even the atta, all the lentils, chole and
She
everything.
did research and
Yeah, and then she actually tradition way with the chakki, if you know. She put it in there and then she grinded with
the
a stone
grinder.
grinder. She did, and 2 kilo. She actually made it. Yeah, but we didn't need it because we assumed in India it's not going to be so much knowledgeable about gluten-free, but we went there and we seen there's like cakes, there's gluten-free cakes, there's gluten-free cookies, there's gluten-free, even the tortilla, gluten-free tortilla we found there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, no, she was already. I don't remember what her reaction was when we first got together. Do you remember?
that was back in 2018. Yeah, she came, I think my mom and sister came. When you went to pick up, you went with me to pick her up from airport, 6th of July, I think, or 2018.
You're ready.
We lived in Edgeworth that time. Yeah, she liked it because I was working night shift and you was the one who taking them for Hunter Valley Zoo. You two guys went there.
We spent a lot of time together because Jag was still working nights at that time, which was very difficult with the kids and the family being here as well.
Okay. So what about all about these lovely and beautiful jewelries you're putting on Carly?
Yes, this is all from India. I went a bit crazy when I was over there. I'll show.
Isn't it?
I had a 24 karat gold ring that Jag's mum bought me. When was that? Last Christmas?
No, last time when she came here.
When was that?
5th of May, 2022.
So last year. And I traded that in and I got a new one because it didn't fit me properly. And I got this one. That was my wedding gift from his mum. Came with matching earrings as well.
So is that a traditional one, Jag?
Yeah, traditional one, handmade.
Like that'll be passed from generation to generation?
This one...
She actually traded in a lot of her old jewellery to,
But the generation to generation one, it's still, she got it. So I told her, I said, you keep it, you know.
Okay.
Maybe for Pinka.
No, she didn't give it to Pinka. We bought new for Pinka, but she wanted to give it to you, but I said, just keep it.
Okay. Alrighty, guys. So, could you say this to my listeners? How do you balance your professional and personal life?
I think we are honestly very understanding of each other's career goals. My career goals are obviously a lot different to what Jag's would be. So we work around each other and we work around the kids as well. We take into account if one of us wants to do an overtime shift or we have to do an education seminar or something like that. We both take into account when we're planning our week. We've got a little weekly calendar on the fridge that we keep track of everything that we're doing, everything that the kids are doing at school or in their spare time. We just work around each other. Yeah, I think it's very important that we have both professional and a personal life as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that's a. I'm gonna say the same thing. It's a more we have mutual understanding. It's like I work Monday to Friday, and she works shift work, so she have to be weekend, and so if she working day shift, I drop the kids to school. She picked them up, and if she's doing afternoon shift, then I'll pick them up and she drop to school. So this sort of commitment and understanding what we're doing.
That's a very big thing that we quite enjoy is if one of us drops off the kids, the other one picks them up.
Yeah.
Unless we have an appointment or something that we can't get to, then we work around it and the same person will do the drop off and pick up. But yeah, usually the kids know if one of us is dropping them off, the other one's picking them up.
Yeah. Okay. So what about if you guys would be providing a bit of introduction about yourself to my listeners? Jag, would you like to start? Would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
A bit about yourself.
Yep.
I know like what you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I born there in India, Punjab, and I went to school. I have a sister back home, my mom. My dad died on New Year's Day on 2000 when I was 9 years old. Then went to school. I studied year 12, came here on a student visa in Melbourne, 2008, and studied Certificate 3 Retail Bakery Pastry.
Okay.
But I did not work in my field. So to support myself, work whatever the job I had that time, demand of the time, taxi driving, security. Then we moved here, Newcastle, met Carley, and so I work now on the Centrelink, by Service Australia side, Monday to Friday. So and we have a kids together, and all set.
Yeah, because I've seen you a couple of times at Centrelink as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about like a smart guy standing around inside that premises, isn't it? With well-ironed shirt and trouser.
That's one thing that I do.
And his signature would be all about his golden ornaments, let's say.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Jewelry.
That's your signature?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. What about you, Carley?
So I was born here in Newcastle, Waratah, Calvary Mater, Waratah actually, which is where I work now as a registered nurse. I was born there. I work in the medical ward, so I do a lot of geriatric nursing. I'm looking to go towards palliative and hospice care.
Okay.
We've got 2 kids together. We just got a new puppy. I did start off my professional career as a vet nurse. Decided that I didn't like being bit by dogs and cats. And then I went into dog grooming, and I didn't really like that either because I was still getting bitten by dogs. So then I went into human nursing, and I liked that much better.
How did you guys met with each other?
We actually met online.
Yeah. There you go.
On the app Plenty of Fish.
Plenty of Fish, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That took a lot of Jag convincing for a meet and greet because I didn't want to borrow him. His username was actually Jack. And I said to him, no bloke that looks like you is called Jack.
Okay.
True.
So I wasn't interested in meeting this Indian guy called Jack.
And he's Jag, isn't it? Yeah.
Jack. It was Jack, yeah.
Jack. Jack, Jack. Yeah. And it took a little while, and then our first date was a absolute terrible nightmare, and then we had a second date, and that was a nightmare as well.
Yeah.
And then I vowed that I wouldn't have anything to do with him anymore because he kept texting, and he was so persistent, and then I gave him one last chance, and he wowed me on the third try. Yeah.
Alrighty. And
Never lose hope.
Yeah.
Never lose hope, isn't it?
Never lose hope.
Yeah.
He just kept trying. I even blocked him at one point, and then he found me on a different social media platform, and then
yeah. So what about like in your culture, Jag? Like, do you guys put on like sindoor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sindoor, yeah.
Did
Mangal
you,
Sutra,
did you
sindoor.
put on that for Carley? I was just curious.
Not at the Gurdwara. Like when we had a Sikh tradition, in the Sikh Gurdwara, we don't put sindoor. It's only when we do the Hindu wedding.
Okay.
But when we did the Agni, the puja, then that time I put sindoor. But at the Gurdwara, we don't.
And you did that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Carley? Like, if he has done that now, you're always he's, you know. That's the belief in our tradition, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you put on that sindoor.
Sindoor, yeah.
Now, like, he made you as he's like for
Forever.
that's forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyways, like now we have nearly come to the end of this podcast, right? What is like, let's say, a bit about some messages you want to give to my listeners? Or let's say, if I would be requesting you to give a powerful message to my listeners or whoever is listening to this podcast at this moment, right? What could be some positive message you want to deliver it to them? All about international marriage. Because for me, you guys are doing great. Okay. I've seen you guys like smiling since from like 2 years. Like, yeah, when I just like met you, right? And that is also like one of the reasons like I have invited you as a guest in my podcast, right? Alrighty, like what is all about like a bit of positive message for them?
I would say give it a go.
Yeah.
If you see somebody who's from a different cultural background or a different race and you're actually interested in getting to know them better, reach out and, you know, get to know them better. It might be the best thing that you've ever done. I think meeting Jag and experiencing the love that he gives is a different type of love that I've never experienced before in my life from anybody who I've ever come into contact with. And it is definitely very challenging at times, but the best thing that I've ever done.
Okay. Jag?
My message same, I would say. If especially for because I think Carley give her opinion as a on a girl's point of view. Yeah, is it Carley? So I would say I will give the point of view of a guy. If you in Australia or any part of the world, you know, and if you met someone like, you know, there's the person who's not the same race, same you know, same nationality. If you met someone from different nationality, race, you know, don't worry what people said. You know, like if for example, you're from India or you're from Nepal, you know, don't think, because you're always gonna have this double back in your mind. Oh, what my mom or what my mama, what my chacha, what my parosi, what my neighbor will say. You know, he's got a different. Doesn't matter. They, you know, if you're happy, you're happy. You know, go for it. And because people, they're just gonna talk. You know, so if you're good, they're still gonna talk. You're bad, they're still gonna talk. So don't worry about it. Just give it a go. And who knows? You probably, you know, find your happiness.
Yeah. And this is all about, like, as we have already mentioned, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about, like, at the end, you guys are spending the life with each other. Yeah.
You know, and if you give it a go, give it a go. You know, main thing, understanding with each other. Yeah.
Okay. So once again, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For getting married.
Thank you.
So you guys are the newly married couple for me. Okay. And thank you so much for setting up some time.
Thanks for having
So
us.
you guys could be a guest in this episode of this podcast. It was such a nice experience for me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.